Netta, like anybody else on the planet, you start seeing the images on October 7th, and then you see the images in the response from Israel. What happens to you? What do you go through emotionally?
Yeah, so the immediate news of what was happening on October 7th and the victims, obviously it devastated me for those victims. But at the same time, I really did brace myself for the response and brace myself for an aerial bombardment. So that was just jarring, really jarring in those first few days. And um, emotionally dysregulating in a lot of ways of like, where do I even belong? You
Yeah,
know, like I am truly Palestinian, but my heart breaks for what just happened, and that's not resistance, that's terrorism.
yeah.
But I do like I'm pro-Palestinian through and through, and I believe in like the right to self-determination and freedom for Palestinians, and like having even just to reconcile, like, can I hold both positions?
Hmm. Heidi, how about you? When you saw the images from the initial attack, and in the weeks and months following, the images that continue to come from there, what goes through your mind?
This is an interesting question to ask because I've been through this before. I lived in Israel when the first Israel Hamas war started. It was between end of 2007, early 2008, and it's a horrible feeling. There's nothing but fear and everyone. It's mutually assured destruction is basically how it feels. October 7th felt different because it wasn't just the being attacked in Israel. It was the reaction of the international community, of course, college campuses, as though we had done something wrong, as though we deserved this and this is what was coming to us. Quite honestly, the denial of the violence that occurred on October 7th, especially against men and women of a sexual nature, I was astonished and completely shocked that immediately so many people that I thought we were on the same page about this idea of like what are women's rights and believing
Mm.
all women and all the things that we've heard in the past few months, the mismatch of what I thought was real and what was actual was the thing that sort of devastated me on top of all the rest of the devastation.
But how did you two meet in the first place?
Through a mutual friend, Shireen Tabar, she does advocacy work through Empower Women Media, and she
Okay.
was holding these Abrahamic panels where they were virtual meetings of women to talk about the Abraham Accords and just to come together. And Heidi was on one of those calls, and yeah, after that we connected separately and really just established a friendship that's been growing.
So what made that initial spark happen?
I mentioned that usually I have a lot to say and opinions on everything, but I was so overwhelmed in a good sense by all these women who were coming together, not to point fingers, not to find blame, but to find how can we have community and be peaceful with one another.
Yeah.
And that I just wanted to listen. And Neda said how refreshing it is to hear someone who just wants to listen. And then I found out that she's Palestinian, and I got very excited and asked Shireen, do you think she would be willing to talk to me? Can I have her email? Can you get her permission? And at the same time, Neda was asking the same of Shireen. And so it just happened that we both were interested in learning more about each other and how we were both in that space together and let's see what would come of it.
Where did your conversation start? What do you remember about that first time?